Something huge just dropped, and it's coming straight from 50 Cent. As shocked as everyone else is by these allegations, so is he. Like, he didn't start the rumors. He didn't tell people to say this stuff. But the man who's been calling out Diddy for years just went full savage mode. He's naming names, showing receipts, and exposing a list that could shake the entire music industry. And no, this isn't gossip. This is serious. From Justin Bieber to Ja Rule to Kevin Hart. These are names no one expected to be connected to something this dark. According to 50, these celebs were way too close to Diddy, and not in a friendly way. Now that Diddy's facing federal charges for sex trafficking and racketeering, things that once sounded like hate are suddenly starting to sound like facts. And here's the wild part. 50's been sitting on this dirt for years. Why? Because he knew this day was coming. This isn't just drama. This is a full-blown takedown. And when you hear the names on this list, you might never see the industry the same way again. Cent just dropped names, and not the kind you want to hear. The guy who's been warning about Diddy for years just went full snitch mode, with receipts that'll leave your jaw on the floor. We're talking Justin Bieber, Ja Rule, Bow Wow, and more. Artists who, according to 50, got a little too close to the bad boy boss. And the last name? It's the one that'll really throw you. Even 50 says he didn't expect it. So buckle up. This is about to get messy. But first, you need to understand why 50 even has all this info. And no, it's not just because he's petty. Remember that Netflix docuseries he's been working on? Yeah, it's called Did He Do It? While most folks stayed quiet or scared, 50's been stacking receipts like he's building a case for the feds. This isn't just random chatter. 50's been speaking out on Diddy's behavior since the early 2000s, back when people brushed it off as hate. But now, with Diddy sitting in a Manhattan courtroom facing serious federal charges, sex trafficking, racketeering, and transporting. For prostitution, 50's hate doesn't look like hate anymore. It looks like the only real truth anyone was brave enough to say. Just this week, while Diddy's legal team scrambles to keep his name clean, 50 posted. After hearing today's testimony, I think the diddler should have taken the plea deal. The stuff they're saying is beyond me. If your biggest enemy for decades says you should have copped a plea, you know it's over. What makes all this even crazier is how long 50's been prepping. He's been gathering this stuff for years, because he knew this day was coming. Now here's where it all gets dark. The names 50's putting out there will make you rethink everything you thought you knew about the industry. Let's start with Justin Bieber. Mr. Yummy himself. There's this old clip, Diddy making a bizarre comment about spending 48 hours with a young Bieber. Most people brushed it off as mentorship or studio time, but 50 says insiders always saw it as something way darker. And when you look at how far Bieber's distanced himself from Diddy over the years, no collabs, no shoutouts, nothing, you start to wonder, was it ever really about music? Suddenly, that whole mentorship thing doesn't sound so innocent anymore. Bieber was just a kid, barely in his teens. So why was Diddy so invested in him? And if even half of these allegations are real, that so-called 48 hours might have been the most disturbing experience of Bieber's early life. Now let's talk Ja Rule. This part is especially wild because it involves Diddy's former bodyguard, Gene Deal, a man who claims he saw it all. Gene says he witnessed some, quote, unusual behavior between Diddy and Ja during a visit to an adult bookstore. But that's not even the worst of it.
The real tea? Gene says he saw what he called freaky activity between Diddy and Ja Rule inside a private suite in North Carolina. The kind of stuff so intense that Ja allegedly started warning others about what goes down when you're left alone with Diddy. Think about that. Your own collaborator, someone you've worked side by side with, telling others to watch their back. That's not just weird. That's alarming. That's not industry behavior. That's predator behavior. Then comes the name Fabolous, and this one hits differently because there's actual footage showing how uncomfortable Fab looked around Diddy. 50 pointed it out during a Drink Champs interview. Fab's whole energy changed, like he just wanted to disappear when Diddy started talking. But here's the kicker. 50 Cent says Diddy even pressured Fabolous to go upstairs during some private gathering. And this lines up with Fab's own past story, where he admitted to literally sneaking out of a Diddy party Now think about that. You don't sneak out of a party unless something felt really off, unless you didn't feel safe. That's not social anxiety. That's survival mode. Then there's Bow Wow, another young artist who rose during Diddy's golden era, when Bad Boy Records had the most power and Diddy had the most access to rising stars. According to 50s list, Bow Wow had his own questionable run-ins with Diddy. And just like the others, these weren't just regular mentorship hangouts. Next up, Trey Songz, Mr. Neighbors Know My Name. The R&B star known for late-night anthems and club tracks is also allegedly on 50's radar. And considering everything we now know about Diddy's infamous freak-off parties, Trey's presence in this circle raises major questions. What exactly did he see? What did he experience? And then, Kevin Hart. Now, this one caught people off guard, because Kevin's a comedian, not a rapper, but don't let that fool you. Kevin and Diddy have shared some very uncomfortable live, stream moments and interview clips. Stuff that might have seemed harmless before, but after hearing these allegations, they hit way different. There's actual footage of Kevin and Diddy interacting that now, through this darker lens, feels way off, like something was being ignored right in front of us. But here's where things go from bad to seriously messed up, because Diddy wasn't doing this alone. The system that protected and enabled him is deeper and more disturbing than anyone imagined. Just this week, Cassie Ventura, Diddy's ex, testified in a Manhattan federal courtroom, and the stuff she shared, straight up horrifying. Cassie told the court she was forced into what Diddy called freak-offs, bizarre, forced sex performances she was made to participate in. But it was one particular detail that shook the courtroom. Cassie described being made to step into an inflatable pool filled with baby oil inside a hotel room. Let that visual sit with you. A pool full of baby oil. Cent didn't waste any time. He posted AI-generated pics of Diddy in a baby oil pool with the caption, "Damn, he did all that," and still went out like this. This crazier than regular crazy. And just when you think that's as weird as it gets weirder. Because when federal agents raided Diddy's homes in both LA and Miami, when federal agents raided Diddy's properties in LA and Miami, they made a shocking discovery. Over 1,000 bottles of baby oil. Yeah, you heard that right. 1,000. What could someone possibly need that much baby oil for? It wasn't just bizarre. It was disturbing. But it gets darker. This wasn't just about wild parties or sketchy behavior. There was a whole machine running behind the scenes to keep people silent. We're talking NDAs handed out like candy, threats, manipulation, and even financial pressure, all designed to make sure no one ever spoke up. And when that didn't work, Diddy allegedly took it way further. Let's talk about Kid Cudi. According to what's expected in court, Cudi's car literally exploded after he started seeing Cassie. Yeah, not vandalized, exploded. Cassie even testified that Diddy had broken into Cudi's house once, and when they found the place, his dog had been locked in the bathroom. That's not beef, that's mob-style intimidation. Cassie told the court she was terrified. She finally realized just how far Diddy would go to punish anyone he thought crossed him. And now, the silence is breaking. Former staff, assistants, makeup artists, people who were once too scared to speak, are finally coming forward. Let's rewind to Usher. He admitted he lived with Diddy when he was just 13 years old. LA Reid sent him to something they called Puffy Flavor Camp. Sounds harmless, until Usher started describing what he saw there. Wild parties, strange scenes, and he admitted, even at 13, he knew something wasn't right.
He said, "I saw some things, I didn't really understand them. It was wild." That's coming from a teenager exposed to adult chaos way too early. He now says those experiences pushed him to stay focused on music rather than fall deeper into that scene. Then there's Wright Jr., a longtime industry insider who's been backing up Usher's claims and adding even more unsettling details about what really went down in Diddy's world. And finally, Kaplan, Diddy's former assistant, the last to testify, and what he revealed was downright horrifying. Kaplan said he used to prep Diddy's hotel rooms, First time he opened his bag, he found baby oil, Astroglide, candles, and liquor. Later, he was the one buying those items himself, with Diddy's corporate card. He didn't just clean up the rooms, he cleaned up the evidence. Empty baby oil bottles, a strange powdery crystal substance, even picked up drugs for Diddy. Twice. Using cash, Diddy gave him a contact number to make the exchange. Kaplan testified under immunity, meaning he can't be prosecuted. So what he said had to be real. And what he described was chilling, carrying wads of cash, covering up what happened in those hotel rooms, and finally resigning after witnessing abuse and being unable to help Cassie when she begged for it. This man didn't just walk away from a high-paying job. He ran because he couldn't stomach what he was witnessing. George Kaplan? Sure. But now we got Milo Morales, a professional makeup artist who broke his silence after 14 years. He said the first time he saw it go down was back in 2010. It was Grammy weekend. Puff walks in, Cassie disappears into the bedroom, and all Milo could hear was screaming. He had no idea what exactly was happening behind that door. But when it ended, Cassie came out battered, bruised. Milo didn't hesitate. He packed up her things and got her to safety. That's not gossip. That's someone who lived it. A witness who had to literally cover up abuse with makeup. And then there's Jaguar Wright. Y'all remember when she first called Diddy a sex trafficker? They laughed, said she was bitter, jealous, irrelevant, said she was mad because she didn't have a mansion or a hit record. But now, her words hit different. She said he had disturbing connections to young girls and powerful Hollywood elites. And with the feds now involved, her claims are starting to line up perfectly with what Diddy is being investigated for. Oh, and she didn't stop there. Jaguar even dropped cryptic hints about Biggie's death, saying Diddy and Biggie had it coming. I think about that. What does she know that we don't? Even Mase, one of Diddy's original artists, has stepped forward. I never got paid what I was worth, never got the respect I deserved. That's what Mase said. And it wasn't just about the money, it was about being controlled. He said Diddy held him down while all his peers moved up. While others became bosses, he was kept boxed in. That's a power play, pure manipulation. Now here's where it gets wild. I told you the last name would throw you off, and it really does. TD Jakes. Yeah, that TD Jakes. The pastor, the spiritual leader. According to these allegations, he wasn't just around, he was involved. Not as a victim, but as an enabler. Someone who allegedly attended these disturbing parties right alongside Diddy. When your inner circle is made up of people who not only know what you're doing, but help cover it up. That's not just dirty, that's a system, a network. And we're still not done. This is far from over. New names, new stories, and more people are coming forward every day. If I miss someone, drop it in the comments, and I'll see y'all in the next one.